Welcome back to the Plus Money Podcast, your home for the best soccer bets in 15 minutes or less. One cup down, three more to go. Turns out the kids are all right as Liverpool's Academy pushes them to a win in the Carabao Cup and further into the FA Cup. It is a weekend before the second leg of the Champions League and the kickoff of the round of 16 for the Europa and Europa Conference League. We've got a big derby in Manchester, a loaded weekend across the EPL and across the rest of Europe. The cup finals are getting into the thick of it right now. Copa del Rey about to kick off as we speak right now with Athletic Bilbao taking on Atletico Madrid. Winner will take on Mallorca in the Copa del Rey. Ani, my voice has recovered. I was pretty gravelly there for a couple days um after that big Liverpool win in the cup final. I have to ask you, are you potch in or potch out at this point?
I think I'm still Potch in. I mean, we talked about the whole thing was like how Klopp's teens are out there or whatnot. But I think the average age for Chelsea was still less than what Liverpool's squad ended up being. So, I mean, yes, Klopp's playing teens out here, and I think the reason that the Chelsea team gets a bad look is because the money they've spent, right? But it doesn't take away from the fact that they're still very, very young. Like these are still most of their squad is kids that are 23 and under and their first season with the team. So I think it would be unfair to let Poch go now. I think you have to give him one more year and see where he goes from here on. And if they win
Yeah,
the FA Cup, I think that's a big deal. So, and they're
yeah,
definitely in
100%.
contention there. They drew Leicester in the quarterfinals, which is a favorable draw. You got City taking on Newcastle, Liverpool taking on United. So at least two Premier League teams are going to be knocked out, with Coventry taking on,
I forgot who they're playing. Hang on.
who's left? Wow, Wolves,
Wolves.
Coventry.
Wolves.
So it's like if Chelsea get that draw, like Chelsea get Wolves or Coventry, if they beat Leicester, you go to two cup finals is not a bad look for Poch in his first season if they get there. So I think you have to give him a chance. And who knows, maybe they make a push here at the end of the season, finish top 6 or 7, get Europe.
I think the big thing for Chelsea to do that is the ability to score goals, which I know they scored a ton against Leeds in the FA Cup, but I just don't. As long as Nkunku is going to be kind of start, stop, not really get going, I don't see it happening, especially with like the teams above them. Well, I will
Jackson
say,
isn't the answer. Nico
yeah,
Jackson's just not it. He's a good scorer in front of the net, but like his just instincts as a number 9 are just not it. I was getting so frustrated watching the Leeds game in the FA Cup. He just doesn't know when to look up. He doesn't play the right balls. He's not in the right spot. It's just and that's some of those things you can't teach. It's just number nine's intuition, and he just doesn't have it, unfortunately.
all right, before we delve too deep here, let's jump into the action.
Let's
By
do
the
it.
way, I have so many picks that didn't make the pod that I may or may not put on social at Andrew Passaro, at Ani323, at the Plus Money Pod. I don't have anything for Friday officially, but I will say both teams to score in Lazio Milan on Friday afternoon. I do like a lot. It's minus 118. It's hitting 3 out of the last 5 for both club. I'll probably stick that in a parlay. We both decided to stay away from Everton and West Ham. I was leaning West Ham draw no bet plus 166. Everton have failed to win their last 7 home matches, but that's not an official play for the boys. We're going to start with Newcastle taking on Wolves. I have a parlay in this one at plus 153 of both teams to score over 2.5 and over 8.5 corners. There's been like at least 10 corners in the last 5 Wolves games. So I love the corner value in this game. And I will say, 4 out of the last 5 matchups head to head has gone both teams to score between Wolves and Newcastle. And of the last 10 Newcastle games, 8 of the 10, both teams to score has come in, and it's hit straight up in their last 6 games. It's hitting 5 out of those 10 for Wolves. The fact that this is at Newcastle, I think Newcastle get on the score sheet. I think Wolves get on the score sheet. I think this is actually like a really fun one to kick things off on Saturday, 10 a.m.
I've got Newcastle money line minus 115. Pretty simple bet for me. I do like the corners call there. I'm going to add that to my card. I've mentioned it before this year. The way that Wolves play is on the wings with like either Sarabia or Neto, and then they try to whip the ball in, which leads to a lot of corners. And when you've got a guy like Trippier, they kind of play the same way Newcastle for kind of on the wings with the fullbacks pushing up the pitch. So I like that shout out. But I think Newcastle win this at home. Wolves have been a little bit underwhelming of recent. I thought they would do way better in the midweek against Brighton. Um, I'm trying to think last weekend. I think I really loved Wolves, but they only had a 1-0 victory against Sheffield at home in another game where I thought they should win like 3-0, maybe 4-0. So yeah, I think this is a good spot for Newcastle to get 3 points at home. As a
Yeah,
Chelsea fan, I wish this was a draw and the team split the points. That would be sick. But yeah, I think they take the 3 at home though.
I wouldn't be shocked if it's a 2-2 draw. I'll give you that. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. But yes, I was with you. I was big on Wolves last weekend and they disappointed me. And I missed a plus 600 4-leg parlay yesterday because Brighton could not get on the score sheet in the FA Cup. So yeah, I'll take that one to the grave. Tottenham taking on Crystal Palace. Palace with a new manager. They got a nice big win last weekend and they have to travel to Tottenham. And I like Tottenham and both teams to score here at plus 170. Spurs have conceded in their last five. They haven't won all those games. One of those was a loss to Manchester City. And I think Palace will be up for this. They've been scoring goals under the new manager. But I do think that this is one of those games that Tottenham need to win. They need to get a result. They need to firmly stay in the top four race, and you can't be dropping points to Crystal Palace and expecting to remain in the top four when Manchester United are hanging around, when Aston Villa are hanging around. There's a three-team race for that fourth spot, and if Tottenham want it, they're gonna have to go get it. What do you like in this one?
So this has kind of become one of my favorite props to bet, and I have actually three on this slate from three different teams, but it's shots on goal, team shots on goal. I like Tottenham to have 7+ shots on goal here at plus 125. I think the number's way too good. We're getting plus money. They're fifth in the league on shots on target with 148 on the season. Ange ball, man, it's very attacking style play. They're healthy. They've got Son, Madison, Richarlison, Brennan Johnson, Kulusevski, they're Pedro Porro, and we've seen Crystal Palace struggle on the road this year. Always a team that's better at home. They're also going through their injury concerns right now. Like you said, new manager. They had a kind of easy matchup last week, and they got lucky with the red card on the opposite side, or else I think that results go very differently for them. So I like Tottenham to absolutely pepper the net here.
I have a parlay from the last two matchups we just talked about. So this is a parlay for Newcastle Wolves and Tottenham Palace. Like I mentioned, that both teams to score. Great stat. 4 of the last 5 for both teams. 6 out of the last 10. Six of the last 6 for Newcastle. 8 of the last 10 for Newcastle. 5 of the last 10 for Wolves. And I'm parlaying that with just Spurs money line. That's at plus 123. Pretty easy. Pretty cut and dry. By the way, you talked about team shot on target. I also have that on the card today. You like
Yeah.
something for Fulham? They're taking on Brighton. What do you like?
I like Fulham money line. I think the number's too good for this home team. Plus 160 against Brighton. I just talked about Wolves have been struggling recently. Brighton have been struggling recently too. Injuries have really plagued Brighton, and Mitoma I think is going to be missing another stretch of games here for them.
Possibly the
Um,
season. Possibly the season, which
yeah,
is that's a big loss.
and it might be time for Ansu Fati to start learning another new language because I think he's out of the Prem after this. He just has been underwhelming, has not shown up. Um, yeah, I mean you've got Simona Dingra, Buena Note, but yeah, without Enciso, without the team they came into the season with, which I thought could threaten top five, this Brighton team just looks completely lost. It's not on the manager, it's just the fitness of the squad. So I like Fulham. They've gotten the Iwobi back. They looked good last weekend. Give me them at
Big
plus
win.
160. Give me them plus 160.
Big win at Old Trafford for Fulham. Big,
Yeah.
big win. I don't I'm not I Brighton are on my don't touch list right now. And
Yeah.
it's so
Fair.
hard.
It's fair.
They're
Yeah.
like they burned me last weekend. They burned me in the middle of the week. I can't touch Brighton right now. I love the shout. I'm staying away. Them and like West Ham right now are and we've gone through stretches, over the course of doing this podcast where both of those teams are just a money machine. And right now, for me, the magic is run out. Don't forget, Brighton do have Europa League in the middle of the week. So possible rotations more beneficial for Fulham. Nottingham Forest take on Liverpool. Um, Big game, huge game. Liverpool played in the Cup final Sunday, midweek in the FA Cup on Wednesday, and now travel to Nottingham Forest, one of the most difficult places in the Premier League, in my opinion. Forest beat Liverpool at home, their first season up, And who knows who's going to be healthy for Liverpool? Szoboszlai, Salah, Nunez all said to be getting closer and closer. But again, Liverpool have a road match in Europa League to travel to on Thursday. So this is where the tough decisions are going to come in. Luckily, the kids have been playing really well, but there's one player, there's a couple of senior players who have been out there, have been playing regularly. Obviously, we've seen Cody Gakpo start in the middle of the week. Luis Diaz was given a full rest. Here's the thing about Luis Diaz. I have a future on him to hit over 7.5 goals in the Premier League, and I've for a while was beginning of the season felt great about it, then not so great about it. And if there's one thing I've watched him do a lot, it's take a lot of shots. So Luis Diaz 2 shots on target right now is plus 185. Obviously, this
like that, yeah.
depends on if he starts.
Yeah,
But
wait
plus
for
185,
lineups. Yes.
yes. Or don't, because yesterday I saw Gakpo 2 shots on target at like plus 400, and then it dropped to plus 185 right before
Right. You
kickoff.
take the risk because if he comes on as a sub, you're screwed. If he doesn't play, you'll get
100%.
voided. So like, you
100%.
definitely a risk. Yeah.
This hit against Chelsea, Luton, and Burnley. So 3 out of the last 5, he had 2 shots on target. Diaz to have 4 or more shots in the game is plus 155, and that's hit in 4 out of the last 5. My concern with Luis Diaz is he's right there. He's so close. He's getting the shots. Then he scuffs them. Then he, doesn't get them on target. And it just takes so many bites of the apple for him to finally get the ball over the line. And that's kind of my issue. And I've said this to people, like, if someone offered Liverpool 60 million for Luis Diaz, I'd say sell him, because
Yeah.
he's 27. I don't see him truly getting to that elite level
He's
that
already
we've
hit a
seen.
ceiling, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it was last year. I think he hit a ceiling last season.
So that's my concern. Very happy with all the strike force for Liverpool, the only team in Europe to have 5 players across the front line with 10 or more goals, which is insanity. I also like Liverpool to have 8 or more shots on target. I forgot what that's at. I don't know why I didn't write it down. I'll put it in the post. But they should be all over Nottingham Forest. They should have 70% of the possession. They should have a majority of the shots. Whoever's in net for Forest should be making a bunch of saves. I didn't hate Nottingham Forest and both teams are Liverpool and both teams to score, because I do think Forest could get on the score sheet here. But I decided I'm just going to go with shots in that one. You've got something for Luton Town taking on Aston Villa. Luton,
Yeah, another shots on goal bet, baby. And this one's not crazy. Luton, one of the worst defensive teams in the league. Whenever Luton plays, it's a very open game. Both teams just going up and down the pitch. Not really a controlled midfield attack from either side here. Villa and Luton. Villa 6 shots on goal at minus 115. Feels way too low. I might be even tinkering with the ladder play here up to like 8 or 9 with Villa, get those plus odds. Luton are always a goal threat, especially at home. So I like this even more if Luton get on the score sheet first and Villa have to attack. You've got Watkins, Diaby, Luis, Bailey, McGinn. McGinn and Luis love shooting from outside the box, which is why I like this even more, because they're just guys who have a rip. And if the goalie saves it, even if it's a cheap shot, it's a shot on goal and we hit this prop. So I like this bet a lot. It might be my favorite bet on my entire card.
all right, let's jump to the Manchester Derby. Manchester City, the king is back. Erling Haaland, 5 goals in the midweek, 4
Yeah.
assists from Kevin De Bruyne. They're doing their thing again. They are fully back. And they have a lead in the Champions League as they're going to take on Copenhagen in the second leg of their round of 16 matchup. Manchester United, woeful against Fulham, deserve to lose. Rasmus Højlund out, expected out for a couple more weeks. I think Rasmus Højlund being in the starting 11 was the only chance Manchester United had any chance to do anything in this game. I think this could be like the fact that City really don't have to worry about rotating ahead of the Champions League because they're up, I think 3-1, and I think there's no shot that Copenhagen can overturn that. It was very clearly men against boys in that first leg. I think City can go for this one and get another big win over the rivals. So I am going to go with City and over 3.5 at plus 130. Phil Foden is anytime goal scorer plus 210.
I
which
love Foden in this matchup. Love it. And plus, I saw the plus 200, and like I was like, oh, give me this all day, all day.
um so yeah, I love Foden. And I don't hate Man United team total under half a goal plus 128. Because
Yeah.
I think I will say I think United are going to do what they did at Anfield. They're going to park the bus to make sure they don't get roasted here.
Yeah,
So,
but we've also seen City be so bad defensively. They give up the stupidest goals, I swear. Like both teams to score is like hit, I think, in almost every City game. Like they gave them one up in the midweek to Luton just on pure stupidity. They gave one up on the weekend, I think it was to or recently to like I think Burnley and Brentford. They've just given up just some stupidest goals. So that's a little risky for me. I could see Man U grabbing one cheap on the counter attack, like Garnacho just hitting one and working out. But yeah, I think City absolutely roll. I have one play from this. It's shots on goal. City, 8 shots on goal plus 100. City have been just a
ooh,
shots on goal machine recently. I've won so much money betting on City shots on goal in the past 2 weeks, just from like their Champions League game, the game against Luton. I think they just had like 14 or 15 shots on goal at home against a rival. Give me 8 shots on goal at plus 100.
yeah, I'll be putting that on my card. I'm going to another two last things for me. Monza taking on Roma. I love Roma plus 105 money line. Roma team total over 1.5. I mentioned this last week on the pod. Every single Serie A match they've played in, they've scored 2 or more goals. It's plus 128, I want to say, or plus 122. It's a good number. And then Roma and over 1.5 again is plus 155. Monza are
Okay.
good. They beat the hell out of Milan a couple weeks ago. Um, but Roma are playing a really good ball. So I'm gonna jump on that. I do have things that I like from Atalanta, Bologna, Union Berlin, Dortmund, Bilbao, and Barcelona, Mallorca, and Girona, maybe. So if you want those, get at me on Twitter. My big parlay for the weekend, so no shot that this hits, but I'm going to give it out anyways. Um, plus 565. This is a 6 league parlay all through Monday.
All right, I'll tell you which
Both,
ones I like and don't like. Here we go.
both teams to score Newcastle Wolves,
Okay.
Brentford, and Chelsea.
Both teams score. Okay, I like it. Yep. I was actually gonna place a parlay with just those two legs, and I left it off my card, but I might still do it. Okay, like it.
Oh, over 2.5 in Luton Villa.
Yes.
Leverkusen money line at Cologne.
Yes.
Man City money line against United.
No brainer.
Inter money line against Genoa.
Is that a road game for Inter?
Home game for
Home
Inter.
game. Okay, then I like that
They're
too.
gonna win like
Okay.
6-0.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
like they're gonna
Yeah.
they're gonna destroy them. So
Yeah.
plus 565. Yeah, somebody's gonna disappoint me, but
It's
that's what we got.
I'll tell you I'll tell you right now who that's gonna be. That's gonna disappoint you.
It's gonna be Chelsea Brentford, isn't it?
No, it's gonna be Wolves. Wolves are gonna have so many chances and not score. I already know it. I've already because they Wolves have absolutely screwed me in the past 2 weeks after being a money machine. That I could see it. I could see it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm throwing it out there. We're
Yeah,
we're
I like
giving it
it.
to we're
It's
giving it
still
to the
good bet.
universe at
Love
this
it.
point. For more picks at Andrew Passaro at Ani 323 at the Plus Money Pod. Big week next week. Action every day. Monday, good game. Arsenal and Interplay. So team total over 2.5 parlays. And then Champions League Tuesday, Wednesday, Europa League Thursday, and then back at it on Friday. So let's have a good week. Let's stay positive. Catch you next week.